Unity documentation, Sprite renderer. The sprite renderer component renders the sprite and controls how it visually appears in a scene for both 2D and 3D projects. So if we go into our Unity hub, we click here and you click new project, and you can have a 2D project or a 3D project, and then you just click create. So I already have, let me see, this is the 2D project that we have already. Well, right now it's in 3D, but if I click here, right now it's in 2D. So right now, if we go into, when you create a sprite, so we go into the game object, we go to the 2D object and then sprite. So let's give it a try. We're gonna go into the game object, 2D object, and then sprite. So game object, let me see, game object, then we're gonna go into 2D object and then sprite. So and we can have the 9 slides, we have the capsule, the circle, hexagon. So we already have the 9 slides here. So let's okay, if you put it in 3D, this is how it would look. Let's try our, okay, so we're gonna go to the game object, to the object, and then let's sprites, and then I don't know, let's just have a capsule here as well. So if we move it in 3D, you can see we have a capsule right now, and you can play around, but we are just dealing with 2D, so we have a capsule right now. So this is how you would do it. We can close this one. So okay, Unity automatically creates a game object with a sprite renderer component attached. You can also add the component to an existing game object via the components menu, components rendering, sprite render, and then we will have the properties. So let's see, we go into the capsule here, and as you can see, we have the sprite renderer. So we have the sprite that is capsule. As you can see, if we go into this little tab here, we have the capsule, we have the color. I don't know, maybe we can change it. We can pick this color or whatever color you want, so we can play around. And okay, that is in the game. So we can have it in, okay, let's just leave it in 2D for now. So we have the flip, the XY, we have the draw mode, this case simple, slice, tile. We have also the mask interaction, so now visible inside mask, visible outside mask. So what else do we have here? We have the sprite sort point, we have the center as well as the pivot. We have the material, so right now we have the sprite default. So we have in this folder, we have the sample here, Unity, that is giving us, let me see. Okay, so let's focus here. And what else do we have here? So we can add a component. Okay, so we have all the stuff. Okay, so that is the properties of the sprite renderer. So, and again, right now we're gonna see what is the meaning. So we have these two columns, the property and the function. So we have the sprite, the function, define which sprite texture the component should render. Click the small dot to the right to open the object picker window and select from the list of available sprite assets. So we already did that. So the color, define the vertex color of the sprite, which tints or for colors the sprite's image. Use the color picker to set the vertex color of the rendered sprite texture. See color section below this table for examples. We have the flip, flips the sprite texture along the check axis. This does not flip the transport position of the game object. Material, define the material used to render the sprite texture. So right now, no, it's not, let me see, no, there's 3D. The material they're talking about, this one right now we are in the, okay, so this is the material that we are using. Okay, so we can edit it as well. Let me see, we have this so far. Let me see, we have, okay, so we have this, the 9 slides, we have the capsule. Okay, so we also have a circle here. And okay, so this is the main camera, let me check it out. So this is the main camera here. Okay, draw mode. So define how the sprite scales when its dimensions change. Select one of the following options from the drop down box. Simple. The entire image scales when the dimensions change. This is the default option. Sliced. Select this mode if the sprite is 9 slice. So right now, well, we have the capsule and the main camera, so let's check out the 9 slice. So let's go to the scene. So this is the 9 slice. Okay, 2D. Okay, so in this case, so well, sprite is 9 slice. So we also have here, okay, so also you have here the, let me see, okay, so you also here have the add the components. So we have the, well, that will be once we are interacting with physics. For example, if an object is dropping and you can add some weight to it, 1 kilograms, 2 kilograms, so, or some cars colliding. So that is that. Let me see, we have also the size. So slice or tile. Enter the sprite's new width and height to scale the 9 slice sprite correctly. You can also use the Direct Transform tool to scale the sprite while applying 9 slicing properties. Tile. By default, this mode causes the middle of the 9 slice sprite to tile instead of scale when its dimensions change. Use tile mode to control the tiling behavior of the sprite. Continuous. This is the default tile mode. In continuous mode, the midsection tiles evenly when the sprite dimensions change. Adaptive. In adaptive mode, the sprite texture stretches when its dimensions change, similar to simple mode when the scale of the change dimensions meets the stretch value. The midsection begins to tile. Stretch value. Use the slider to set the value between 0 and 1. The maximum value is 1, which represents double the origin sprite scale. So we have also the sorting layer. Set the sorting layer of the sprite, which controls its priority during rendering. Select an existing sorting layer from the drop down box or create a new sorting layer. And we have the ordering layer, mass interaction, non-visible inside mass. We have the visible outside mass, sprite sort points, and now some details. And we already saw some of this. The color. The image below demonstrates the effects of changing the RGB values on, and this would be the red, green, blue values on the sprite's rendering color settings. To change sprite's opacity, change the value of its color properties alpha channel. So we already saw some of this. So and here left the original sprite, so this is the original sprite, and to the right it will be the modified sprite with the RGB color set to red. The material. Use a material and shader settings to control how Unity renders it. Refers to material, shaders, and textures for further information on these settings. The default material for newly created sprites is sprite default. Scene lighting does not affect this default sprite. To have the sprite react to lighting, assign the material default diffuse instead. To do this, click on the small circle next to material field to bring the object picker window and select the default diffuse material. So we have that. We have the mask interaction. Mask interaction controls how the sprite render interacts with the sprite mask. Selects either visible inside mask or visible outside mask from the drop down menu. The examples below demonstrate the effect of each option with a square sprite and a circle mask. To interact with the sprite mask, select visible inside mask or visible outside mask from the drop down menu. So this is how it will look like. Then we have the sprite sort point. Okay, so let me check it out here. Let's close this one and let's, okay, so let me see, draw size. So you have the size, you have the mass interaction, the, okay, let me see, this is the material, the mass interaction, and let me make this one maybe a little bigger. So the mass, what is the mass interaction? So let's, I don't know, visible inside mask. since this is, let me see, let's change it to 2D. Okay, so visible outside mask. Okay, nothing is changing because we don't have, we just pick up the 9 slides, but let's pick up the capsule now. Let me see now. Now it's changing, so this is will be visible inside mask. Let's put it back into the none. Okay, so again, visible outside mask now. That is how it will look like. But if we put visible inside mask, so this is how it's changing. We have the draw model. We have, let me see, I don't know, a slice. So oops, no, let's just leave it in simple. Okay, and or we can also put tile. Let's just leave it in simple. So we have that so far. Okay, so now we have the sprite sort point. This property is only available when the sprite renders draw mode is set to simple. So let's, okay, so we were playing around, and okay, so it's set to simple, and now we have the sprite sort point center material. Okay, so the material is, okay, so we can pick up, let's, I don't know, let's pick this one. So right now we have this specific material, spatial mapping wireframe, and this is how it will look in, this is like 2D. Okay, so now we have the material additional settings. So we have the sorting layer by default. Let me see, what else do we have here? Let me check it out. Okay, so in a 2D project, the main camera is set to orthographic project mode, so let's leave it in 2D. And okay, special, let me see, thickness. Okay, yeah, everything is fine. In a 2D project, the main camera is set to the orthographic project mode by default. In this mode, Unity renders sprites and the order of their distance to the camera along the direction of the camera's view. So right now, if I click in the main camera, well, it's kind of difficult to check it out in 2D, but if you unclick it, so this is how it will look like. So if you make it this one a little bigger, so this is how it will look like. Okay, and yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. So by default, a sprite sort point is set to its center, and Unity measures the distance between the camera's transform position and the center of the sprite to determine the render order. To set a different sort point from the center, select the pivot option, edit the sprite pivot position, and the sprite editor. So this is pretty much all that we have for the sprite renderer.